Thanks for joining us today. We all know we need to innovate faster. And there's one company in particular who create products and services in a rapid pace. It's Amazon. With their innovative culture and innovation process, they create products and services like Alexa, Amazon Fresh, delivery drones, or one-day delivery. And Amazon wants its customers to succeed. That's the reason why AWS created a digital innovation program. But it cannot do this on their own. They need partners like us. Partners who have a cultural, methodological, and technological similarities, who share their values. By the way, we are Germany's and in the Benelux, the first AWS Digital Innovation partner. But let's do a quick recap of the Digital Innovation Program. If you want to learn more, just check out the webinar of Faraz from AWS, who has given this an overview of the Digital Innovation Program in the previous webinar as part of the Digital Innovation Web Day. So, the program consists of 4 layers, this time in a vertical visualization. The digital vision, which is given on a broad level for the company, which is then filled with different digital offerings, either products or services. These services need to be implemented in software in the end, and then they rely on a cloud-native architecture, we say a microservice architecture or data-driven approaches, and are implemented or operated in a modern operation model which consists of agile software practices, a DevOps culture, and so on. But how do we as codecentric work or implement this digital innovation program? If you lack a digital vision or you want to create different digital offerings, we support you with the Black Frame, which helps to generate ideas in a structured way, to make them actionable, to create your digital vision and create different digital offerings. If you have a fuzzy digital offering, product or service, and you want to iterate over it or test your product market fit, you can rely on our digitization labs teams who help you to build, with the help of rapid prototyping, prototypes which go daily, multiple times daily into production and can be validated against the customers. So, for example, 8 releases a day with a rich feature set. And furthermore, if you already have a concrete idea how your digital offering looks, then we can help you enable your own IT with our digital enablement teams, where we create joint teams which consist of our experts and your IT department to develop your digital product or service until production. Even if you want to have operation. And how these products or how we implement this in practice will be explained by my colleagues.
All right, thanks Konrad. I hope everyone can hear me. Also from me, thanks for joining us today. And without further ado, let me dive into what the Black Frame is. The Black Frame is the place at codecentric where we help our customers create new ideas, products, and strategies. In the last couple of years, we learned and we came to believe that innovation just does not follow any standards. So we created our own approach to ideation, which we call maker thinking, where every workshop is tailor-made depending on the customer's specific needs. Maker thinking comprises 3 main principles that helps us make sure that every workshop is different, individual, and like I said, tailor-made, but not random. The first one is places and paths. That means we help the participants at our workshops leave their daily routines behind by getting them in motion and inspiring them at different hand-picked places, inside and outside. Because we learned that great ideas just don't arise in conference rooms. And we also learned that by having this experience outside and being inspired and having it as a group, we build a great foundation for creative and innovative processes on the participant side. The second principle is methods and maker. That means that on the one hand, we pick from a wide range of different ideation methods, like, for example, aspects of design thinking, to remix impressions and ideas to generate new ideas or to improve existing ones. On the other hand, what we don't do is we don't use post-its, ever. Instead, we express our ideas or document inspirations and discussions by creating physical artifacts like, for example, Polaroid pictures or t-shirts. And the third principle is final result and product. So not only the documentation, but also the final result is expressed in a physical or at least some tangible way. Our principle here is making things, not slides, because it's for us just the better way of communicating ideas, but also it empowers people to actually build their ideas. And that's what it could look like. What you see here is an example of a workshop agenda and instructions for the workshop printed on a card deck that we then handed out to every participant of the workshop. And this is a different, well, let me call it black frame style moderation kit that contains all the things that we use to express our ideas or document our ideas instead of post-its. You heard about why or how we do things already. The question is, what is our promise? What is the outcome that we want to achieve? Well, all workshops have three main goals. The first one is vision transformation. That means we want to help our clients create new strategies or business models to change or improve their existing business models. The second one is digital empowerment. What we mean by that is that we want to enable people to not only come up with new ideas or solutions, sorry for the noise, but also to implement them, leveraging the simplicity of today's digital tools. And the third goal is what we call 360-degree prototyping or pop-up concept. That means that we want to build prototypes that we can actually use to prove our strategies and ideas in practice. And with the help of our so-called digitization labs teams, this can also include digital aspects or digital prototypes, but you will hear more about that later. To give you a better grasp on what this could look like, let me walk you through a short case study. One of our clients is Hussel, which is a German chocolate retailer that you might know, which was founded in 1949. And you see their problem here. The traditional brick and mortar stores just didn't perform anymore. So the company really had to change something in order to survive. And what we did with Hussel is we started with just decomposing and questioning everything. The brand, the design, the packaging, the brick and mortar stores in general. And we asked two main questions at our workshops. The first one was, what would Hussel look like if it was founded in today instead of 1949? And the second one, pretty much in the same direction, how would modern companies like, for example, Amazon build a business around chocolate? There was one thing that we found out really quickly, and that was the fact that abandoning the shops was not an option due to long-running lease agreements, for example. So we had to stick with them. And actually, that was the thing that we had to turn around first. So we did that by enabling the client to recreate their brand as well as the whole appearance and concept in the stores. And yeah, this is the result. What you see here is a full-blown prototype of the new concept and brand built into one corner of one store, actually the one that you saw in one of the previous slides. And we used this prototype to test the underlying hypotheses of the new ideas and concepts that we developed. To give you a little idea, A few of these ideas were, for example, changing the focus to a more customer-centric approach by offering tasting instead of just selling goods. The goal there was to help Hustle to build a better relationship to the customer as well as a better understanding of their customers' preferences. A second one was having a more modular store concept that is open and welcoming and also constantly adaptable to new learnings and challenges like, for example, seasonal business. Another idea was changing the whole appearance. As you can see here, the brand, the packaging, the design, the product selection, to have a more modern perception of Hustle in the stores. And last but not least, we were also able to reduce building costs for a store by 2/3 through commodity interior and upcycling concepts. I don't see any one of you right now, but I guess I would be looking in a lot of questioning faces because so far this prototype does not contain any digital aspect. And this is for a reason, because at the Black Frame, we don't force digital solutions. First and foremost, we want to solve business problems and not just apply some certain technology that we think is cool. Because we are well aware that in a post-digital era, digital aspects are an inherent part of new strategies, products, or business models anyway. Let me give you an example to illustrate that a little bit more. To be able to test these hypotheses in the store and also to find out which setting of the dynamic elements performs best, we had to gather insight about the customer's behavior at Hustle. And one proposed solution that might become a part of the prototype in the future is a heat map that will be created from cameras in the store to provide these insights about customers' behavior to Hustle. And to be able to build these digital parts of a solution, we offer something special that I briefly mentioned before. In our process, customers can have these kinds of digital aspects built at the same speed as the physical ones to get a real 360-degree prototype. And this leads me to our next speaker, because at Codecentric, we recognize that ideas do not only originate at the Black Frame, and we also recognize that digital prototyping is often the missing link for our corporate think tanks. So we offer our dedicated teams the so-called digitization lab as a separate service. And my colleague Niels will tell you a little bit more about that right now. Thank you very much.
I think I need the screen sharing, Jan, if you would be so kind. Thank you.
Yeah, I did it.
Okay, you should be able to see the presentation now. First of all, thanks for having me. Thank you, Jan, for the introduction. So what Jan is hinting at is what we call the codecentric digitization labs, and it's basically a service offering that you can work with either implicitly by working within the Black Frame and doing 360 degrees prototyping, or if you are generating your own product ideas, just order it as a separate service. But what I'd like to do first is give you a bit of background regarding the problems we try to solve, about the reasons behind developing this product. And what I'd like to start with is a quotation by Arthur C. Clarke, who once said that any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. And to my mind, that's basically the core challenge in developing revolutionary digital or post-digital products, right? If you think about it, if the technical capabilities that we have nowadays allow us to solve old or new problems in a radically new, almost magical way. Right? You just think about products like the Amazon Dash button, right, where you basically wiggle a finger and you magically refill your cat food supplies, or something like Alexa, where you summon a genie that's fulfilling all your wishes just by speaking a few words. And to my mind, this makes product management in a new world very much different from what it has been before, right? So let's talk a bit about what it means to develop one of these products. So first of all, I agree with Jan when he says innovation does not follow any standards, right? You might make your innovation processes work if you are doing incremental improvements on existing products, right? But if you want something radically new, you will probably have to break with some of the conventions. Okay, so what you actually need to do is, in order to arrive at this very magical product, is you will have to discover it instead of plan it. And as I said, because you are trying to develop something very radically different from what's already there, you will most likely be inside uncharted territory. You will most likely try out things which consequences are unforeseeable. You will not know how your customer is going to react to a certain product capability. And that's basically the qualities of a complex problem. And if you want to solve a complex problem, there's not that many survival strategies. And I believe the most important one is trying to understand the problem, generate ideas, and then over and over validate them, right? Some of them might be good ideas, some of them might be ideas that you will later on discard, but trying out each of these ideas is going to give you a little bit of more insight about your target audience, about the final appearance of the product, about the capabilities that you need to add. And this basically leads us to the core problem, right? So validating whether something is going to work has never been really easy. But the more our products are being defined by technical possibilities, the more digital they become, the more difficult it's going to get. First of all, you can't rely on any prior art, right? There's nothing similar that has been made before. And on the other hand, you have these almost endless amount of possibilities, right? An empty canvas and so many colors to paint with. So basically the question is, how can you now validate an idea without actually building it? Because, I mean, face it, using software and hardware might actually be expensive and hard. And it turns out, I don't think you actually can do that. So what's been used before in product management, and I think most of you will be aware of that, is using models and prototypes to generate feedback about your ideas. But that brings us back to the original problem, right? If technology is a key ingredient to these ideas, then you will somehow need to emulate the properties that software and hardware are creating for your product idea, and this used to be very slow and expensive. And my claim is that nowadays this doesn't necessarily have to be like this. So what I'd like to talk a bit about is how can you validate digital product ideas in a sensible fashion, right? How can you get rid of the need for low fidelity prototypes that are only a vague approximation of your final product, and actually grant your customer a realistic experience in order to create valuable feedback? And I think we identified a few key concepts behind this. And the first one is you will have to concentrate on key aspects of your product experience, right? Instead of building the whole thing, you will need to figure out what's actually going to provide real insights. So for example, if you're thinking about developing a modern shopping experience for your customers, then you will probably know that there at some point is going to be a form of payment process. But that's a complicated problem, right? That has been solved before, and you will definitely need this. This doesn't provide any insight, so leave it out of the prototype. Instead, if you think about adding a conversational interface for your customers to order things, you will probably try to prototype that, right? So reduce the scope of what you are trying to gain insights from. The second principle I think that's important is simplify and reduce manufacturing range. So for example, there are tons of technical requirements that your final product will need to fulfill. It might be scalable, robust, always available, all these things. On the other hand, if you are just trying to validate your ideas, and if you don't even know whether this is going to be part of the final thing, you will most probably be able to skip most of these technical requirements, right? So your final product might be integrated with a car's multimedia system, but for your prototype, you can most likely just use a smartphone or a tablet. Also, nowadays, nowadays, I believe it's possible to radically reduce manufacturing range, right? Instead of building everything from ground up, you have access to services like AWS. There is an API economy, right? You can take things and just remix them. And by that, you gain a tremendous amount of leverage. And finally, what we found to be important is automate all the things. Choose tools that give you leverage. Choose big ecosystems. Reuse, optimize your processes. Right? In essence, basically cut away all the ramp-up and transactional costs for releasing a iteration of your prototype. And so to close the circle, I believe that Codecentric Digitization Labs is a reference implementation of these principles. We have iterated upon them, we've built upon them, we've found the approach, and during the last years, we've applied it to quite a wide range of ideas. And in order to make it a bit more tangible, I'd like to give you a few examples of what we've done. So, for example, we have explored mobile channels for a retailer's customer relationship management system and a loyalty bonus system, geo-fencing and things like that. We have developed prototypes for driver assistance systems. We have been testing UI metaphors for the next generation of a human-machine interface for big machinery. We've been trying to discover things like unintrusive way of letting removal workers create digital packaging lists. We have been showing the potential of connected sensors for improving home insurance products. So basically, these ideas are applicable to a very wide range of different product ideas. So to summarize, what you get when working with the Codecentric Digitization Lab is you get immediate access to a highly specialized rapid prototyping team. We will bring all the tools and processes optimized for very short cycle times to the table. So we are talking hours and days instead of weeks and months. And all you need to do is plug in your product manager and your idea and start launching, right? And if you're done with the digitization labs, you will have a clear vision of what you want to develop. And if at that point you are still not sure how to deliver that at speed, you might be interested in the digitization enablement format that my colleague Victor is going to present next. So thank you for having me, and I'm going to hand over to Victor.
Hello everyone, thank you for joining me. I just need to find again how to share the screen. Yes, I think you can now see it. Okay, we have talked about Blackframe digitization labs, and these are mostly, not only, but mostly about finding the right idea to build effective products. But if your vision is clear, as Niels just said, you need to deliver. You need to deliver continuously and at speed. And this is all that digital enablement from our perspective is about, to deliver effective products at speed. But, it's the usual but, many companies are held back. I'm just coming back from customer engagement where we did an architecture review, and the thing I heard again and again is, oh, but this is policy here. And that the architecture was fine, but the policy constraints forced them to do things like deploying a very simple scheduler on a n-node cluster of JEE application servers, because this is just policy. So policy and culture might hold you back to deliver at speed. Culture really very simply defined as the way things are done here, nothing more. Mindset problems, like I really like this story about Jeff Bezos when he disagreed with some TV show that his team wanted to do, and he said, okay, I disagree, but you're convinced, so I commit, and you commit to do this thing, and it's okay, let's try that. And another thing that might hold you back is the layering of responsibilities. And in a cloud-native application, in an operating model where you can deliver at speed, you really have to go for you build it, you run it. And And the thing that is perhaps the most scary that's holding us back is uncertainty. We deliver plans, we do upfront design. Even if we want to be agile, we have so long cycles to reduce uncertainty instead of allowing uncertainty and going forward, trying things out, failing and doing it again. And then finally, again, policies, architecture, policing that takes 3 weeks to create a new development environment. If you go cloud native with a cloud provider like Amazon, you can go much faster. Let's really go one step further, and I'm exaggerating here. It's a little bit of a straw man, but it drives the point home, so please humor me. The old way of doing things, the industrial pre-digital way versus the post-industrial and digital way, it is really mostly about we fear the future, and so we want to plan. We analyze things for weeks and months to make a plan, to create a budget, versus again, this is just really an archetype and a strawman. In the digital world, we're empiric, we are data-driven. We really try to learn from things we tried out and not to predict. We are not sticking to plans because everyone knows these plans are just really paper on the wall that we change every day. We go for it and allow uncertainty and go evolutionary at speed. One thing that is really important in this area is the contrast between outsourcing and insourcing. I see too many companies where there are layers between development and operating. Often the operating department is another company again, and the interface between these are really deteriorating even over time. They're not getting better. So one thing which is really necessary to reduce bottlenecks is to insource again, to have co-located cross-functional teams where everyone can talk with everyone. And perhaps the litmus test of all this is, do you need to optimize costs or do you need to optimize speed? Again, this is a strawman, this is an exaggeration, but if you want to have speed, you need to work differently than you're probably doing it now. And if you want to be cost optimized, you have to go at it a totally different way. So getting back to the things that are holding you back, I wouldn't talk about things that are holding you back if I don't think we have a solution. And the solution is our digital enablement offering, where we work collaboratively together with the customer at the new products that hopefully Digitalization Labs and the Black Frame has defined and discovered for us. The core thing we really say, what is necessary, and it's a very simple thing, is get out of your current environment physically. Don't stay in your rooms, don't stay where everything drags you down, perhaps, where you have to take care about legacy environment stuff still, where you are part of the current policy and the way things are done here. If you want to change the way you're delivering software, you have to make a clear cut. So what we propose normally is, let's rent some rooms together somewhere else, come to codecentric, something like that, get out of the current environment. And the second thing, this might be even our secret sauce, is our 4+1 model. At codecentric, we are working 4 days for the customer. And 1 day we are learning, we are writing, we are discussing, we are thinking. We take this time, we take the time out 1 day a week to think and learn to be faster. Because if you just go on like, German word, Hamsterrad, I don't know the English word, just busy work, if you're just doing busy work all the time, you cannot get faster because you're just stuck to the current model. You need the time out to step back and reframe and think about how we are doing things. I'm not a big fan of Scrum, but the retrospectives of Scrum are a great model for that. We take the time and look on the way how we do things and think about improving. Now, we can improve all we want in the development teams. If the management stays the same, this won't work. If the management is still working in a command and control fashion in we need big plans, we need big budgets, then the problem will not go away. So what we offer as well is training, coaching, and what we call, it's not our term, but what is perhaps best called servant leadership, meaning management is really trying to help the teams developing, the teams delivering, getting obstacles out of their way, helping the people to go. This is really, really important, we think, if you want to get to speed. As long as you have layers of control and waiting for decisions, you cannot get faster. I said it before, a big principle of this is you build it, you run it. But the important part is you build it means I have the responsibility to choose the technology. I have the autonomy to choose the technology. Otherwise, I'm just a developer who's doing operating, or I'm an operator who does still operating. The thing is, if I choose a technology which I think is fit for this problem, I take over responsibility, and that might mean I have to stay up in the night. And the last thing from the mindset perspective is the uncertainty thing, and I admit this is still scary for me. Allowing for uncertainty is difficult. So what we really need is a lean cycle, trying things out and being as quick as possible and looking, does this really work, have this feedback cycle. And I have talked very, very long and much about culture, about mindset. And the last thing to really get to speed is getting cloud native. Because if you have to wait 3 weeks for the next environment, if you have to discuss if you can use Tomcat or JBoss, this doesn't make sense. And if you want to do everything for yourself, if you ever set up a Postgres failover environment and helping operating to do that on a daily basis, you know what I mean. If you're going cloud native on a cloud like Amazon Cloud, where you can get that as a service, reducing the depth of what you have to do versus what Amazon offers you, what the cloud environment offers you, allows you to focus more on features and products you want to develop. Won't talk too much about technology. I assume if you're interested here in Amazon cloud stuff, you know mostly about that. We propose quite often microservices, zero downtime. We always promote automate everything. With microservices, it's sometimes even now a hype topic, so I'm a little bit hesitant. But to get really at speed, you have to look at all these technologies and know what you're doing and when to use it and not when to use it. So this is very important. But it's not that we deliver that to you and just do it for you. What we really want to do is help you enable to get there. So let me really get to this point on how we are doing that. We're doing a ramp-up phase, and in this ramp-up phase, we are working ideally 50% of codecentric and 50% of our customers. We start small because everyone knows we need to go through the phases of team forming, storming, etc. This is necessary. We need to understand the problem from the business perspective. We need to really get running in a first small batch. After the ramp up, we want to increase, to scale up from a perspective of people joining. Because if it's only one small team, and even if it delivers great products, it's not sufficient to convince the whole organization that this model really works. So what we're doing is we scale up to 20 people, and we deliver for quite some time to really show how this works, to improve ourselves and the customer. And then we ramp down. We just not to deliver and leave the customer at a certain point. We just ramp slowly down, handing over responsibility to the customer more and more. And this is really the core of the digital enablement. We just not deliver software, we deliver technology know-how, methodological know-how, and a kind of culture change that the customer can then use. I come to that a little bit deeper later on. The product responsibility, even if we help there with BlackFrame or digitalization labs, the product responsibility completely stays with the customer. The customer offers the product owner, and the product owner, we know this is difficult, but the product owner has to be available 100%, and he really has to be part of the team and not someone from the outside creating requirements. Because of the difficulties on changing culture, we also offer coaching, training. An agile coach can be provided. We can provide training and coaching for servant leadership. And the contract model might not be of interest to all of you, but this is really important for us. There is a minimum duration that we consider necessary, and this is 1.5 years. This might sound very long, but to really change culture, to change mindset, we have the experience that this is necessary. But in the sense and the meaning of lean cycle, this can be cancelled. We increase the participation by the customer IT over time. We always have security on board at the get-go, but everyone else will be participating a little bit later on. And one other thing is, because it's an enablement format, we cannot commit to Gewerk in German. Sorry, I don't know the English word. The thing is, what we only can offer here is time and material. So this is digital enablement. We help you getting up to speed. The result is a project that can be used as a beacon into the organization. We really deliver. We're not delivering a platform where you can do things. We deliver product. We deliver features that customers can really use. And the team is enabled from a technology perspective and from a culture perspective. Agile, DevOps, Lean cycle are then really ingrained in the daily doing of the team. What we still leave in the serenity of the customer is really the organizational change, the transformation. We can help with change management, we can help with recruiting, we can help with product strategy, but the change management from an organizational perspective, this is not in our core DNA. So let me just summarize code-centric digital enablement. We're collaboratively delivering digital products. We help you learn technology, culture, way of working, and it is a first important step if you want to go on the path of digital transformation. But the transformation itself is your serenity, it's your responsibility still. So these are the guys that have been talking to you. If you have any questions, I'm currently not looking at the chat because I really needed to focus on this presentation. These are the guys talking to you. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate. Ask us now, ask us later, send us an email, send us a Twitter, whatever you need. We really would like to hear from you. And this was it for now, as far as I see. Let me get back. I think we're done. Oh, we have questions, so let me try to see if I can answer these questions right away. The simple question, where are we located? Yeah, good question. We deliberately didn't want to bore you with the usual, this is our company, we are big and we are great stuff. So very simple, codecentric, 400 employees all over Germany, some nearshoring in Banja Luka and Novi Sad. We have locations in Munich, Solingen, Düsseldorf, Hamburg, Berlin, Munster, Karlsruhe, Stuttgart. Someone else joining? Sorry, we're everywhere in Germany. Anything else? Konrad, anything else you want to add?
Just Dortmund.
Ah, Dortmund, I forgot. Yeah, sorry. Dortmund is black frame. No, that's why. Oh, I should really mention that. There's a question with regard to the technology slide. What do you mean by share nothing? Share nothing simply means there is no state shared among multiple servers. I would have to go a little bit deeper into that. If you give me some contact information, I can send you that, or please contact me by email. It's a little bit difficult to explain right away without writing some longer sentences, perhaps. Any more questions? So, if there are not, oh yeah, there's something coming up. No more questions. No more questions are there. Okay, then thank you very much, everyone, for joining us here today. Thank you to my colleagues. I'm just the last one, that's why I'm doing the outro. Yes, have a nice day. There's another webinar coming up at 3 o'clock. I think from Contino about DevOps. I think this sounds really interesting. I will be joining them and see what they have to talk about. Thank you very much.